What up?
SMU really going to put the committee over the edge in terms of a
What up? What up? Late again. Facts. I'm killing us. You should be fired. You late again. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Late again. Man, late again. Ha! What up? This shirt on. Late again. Unbelievable with this dude. What up, guys? What up? I am. As a matter of fact, I got my dish going right now. I make a brown rice with tomatoes, potatoes, green peppers, green beans, onions. It's actually a really good dish. Really good dish. So what's going on, guys? Late again. Kyrie Irving could stand to lose $15.5 million if he's unvaccinated. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins said, "I'm done. I'm doing it. It won't be no more. It won't be no more nonsense out of me." I am vegan. Yes, sir. That is correct. It's called Sports Behavior. It's on Twitch. We go on Tuesday nights and Friday nights at 8 p.m. Central. If you go to OG the Beast, the sports guy, you go to his page. The link is in the bio. So I'm vegan because a little over a year ago, we in October? A little over a year ago, about a year and a half ago, I was keeping myself in shape and I was working out and I was doing everything that I can to be healthy, but I just wasn't feeling good, man. And I couldn't understand why. I didn't get it. I couldn't get to the bottom of what the problem was. Why am I not feeling good? And then I watched this documentary. It was called What the Health, and it was actually really good, man. And so I said, I'll try this. And I've been on it ever since. I dropped 25 pounds. My cholesterol went down like 80 points, something crazy like that. So it's been good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that stuff instinct. No, I'm good. I ain't interested in that. I'm not interested in shaming people and you eat meat because and you're violent. No. I ain't doing that. Nope. That I don't do. It is on. It's on right now. The reason why I'm sweating is because I'm cooking and I got rushed because I lost track of time and I was like, yo, I'm supposed to see my peoples tonight. What am I doing? So that's what's going on. The dish that I make, Jillian, I make a brown rice. I cut up some tomatoes. I cut up some potatoes. I cut up some broccoli. I cut up some green beans. I cut up some green peppers and I cut up some onions. And that's how I handle it. No, I don't. In the beginning, I did, yo. To be honest with you, in the beginning, I really wanted to have a bacon cheeseburger, and I really wanted to have some wings. You know what I'm saying? And it was really, it was hard in the beginning, yo, because I was used to eating like that. I just was. And then as time went on, that's where the discipline comes in, right? So I just took it every day where it was just like, this is what I'm gonna eat, and this is how I'm gonna rock, and it worked. Next thing I know, I'm starting to feel better. I'm sleeping better. Um, it's just better. I think the interesting thing about that, Keyshawn, is people judge James on what's going on right now and completely forget. James been in the league since 2003. He didn't just come into the league and we are in the freedom of movement era, right? And in the freedom of movement era, you can't really put hands on guys. You can't. So that's why guys are so, what are you doing? And complaining to the refs when anybody puts hands on them. Because that's what it is. The Christmas Day matchup that I'm looking forward to, uh, the Lakers in Brooklyn. Because we'll be well into the season, and it won't be none of that. We resting these guys and we doing nah. Let's get to it. Let's see what y'all made of. Let's see what we made of. Yes, LeBron would last, and the reason why he would last, and the interesting thing is people talk about how LeBron wouldn't last back then. Well, he's playing the game the way it's being played now. If he was playing back then, he would have to adjust to the way the game was being played. There'd be no way that he wouldn't be able to play through that. Because, it's interesting that we talk about how, Jordan got beat up by the Pistons. Jordan was one of the biggest. Why do you think that they changed the rules? Because Jordan was one of the biggest complainers you'll ever meet. All he did was complain. But he realized that, yo, the league is not going to do anything about this. I can't complain to the refs, so I got to do something. I can't keep doing this. So this is the way the game is being played. So I'm physically not prepared to play like this. So I got to go get physically prepared to play like this. I have to. Well, it's preseason. The Thunder ain't playing. The Hornets aren't playing their guys. And the Thunder, they mostly looking at free agents. I did watch the 49ers yesterday. It started in the second half with that muff punt. That's when it got tricky. And the floodgates opened up. They went on a 20-7 run. And that's when the floodgates opened up. How you feel about Ben Roethlisberger? What's your logic on him? Well, losing Teddy Bridgewater was big. And Jordan dropping 63 on the Celtics and losing, I still thought it was amazing. I remember watching that game on CBS and just being like this. Because I couldn't believe what he was doing. I just couldn't. The question I'd like to know is the answer I would like to know is, why wouldn't James be able to play back then? What's the logic, and why wouldn't James be able to play back then? What year did Jordan become the certified GOAT? No debate. For me, it was after the 97 season. The 92 season, I was just, I knew he was the best, and it wasn't a question in my mind. But after the 97 season, when they won 69 games and they beat Utah the way they did, I was like, yo, ain't nobody seeing this dude. Nobody. Can't nobody see this dude. Hang on for 1 second, guys. 1 second. I was like, ain't nobody seeing this dude. Nobody. Can't nobody see this dude. And that's better. I think Malik Monk is gonna not only is he gonna get into the rotation, he's gonna help the Lakers out tremendously. I don't really watch a lot of preseason stuff. I don't, but I was particularly paying attention to the Lakers because I already know who James is. I already know who Russ is. I already know who AD is. I want to see I want to see how Nunn's going to be. What is he going to do in that system? I want to see how Malik Monk is going to be in that system. I already know who Dwight Howard is. I mean, I already know his story. Ben is not good right now, but neither is Ben. Cash, listen, how about this for an idea? And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but do you think Ben is? How do you feel about Ben, or the logic that Ben is washed? What do you think? Patrick Willis all time as linebacker in linebacker cores? No. How long did Patrick Willis play with the Niners? He played with the Niners, what, 7 seasons? 7 seasons he played with the Niners. I think he made the All Pro team once or twice. Lawrence Taylor, Ray Lewis. That's a good one. I got to think about that. What's up, Mark? What's up, brother? How you doing? Maybe not the best, but the most interesting. Yeah. I'm interested in Charlotte. I'm not gonna say that they're the most interesting, but I'm interested in Charlotte. I'm particularly interested in Miami. That's because I'm down here, but uh I'm really interested to see what they're doing. And Sacramento too. I'm really interested to see what's going on up in Sacramento. I'm interested to know if it's the same thing from last year. Is it going to be the same thing from last year with those guys? Because they got really good players up there, man. Why aren't they better? I'm looking forward to seeing Cleveland. Hell yeah, I think the Sonics should come back. Not yeah, but hell yeah. The NBA need to be in Seattle. Of all the places that it needs to be in Seattle. No doubt about it. No doubt. Chicago. I'm interested in Boston too. I think I picked Boston. I got them fifth in the Eastern Conference this year. Yep. What's up, Ethan? Respect, brother. Mm-hmm. I did watch the Bucks game last night. Bucks Patriots game last night. it looked like it was a lot of nerves early for Brady, and it didn't help that it was raining as hard as it was raining, so that didn't help. And they eventually figured it out, which was good. But I think that the Bucks are coming back. I think the Bucks are coming back down to earth. Even though I think that they're gonna, I still think they're the best team in the NFC South. But I think Carolina's gonna have something to say about that. I think the Saints are gonna have something to say about that. Well, think about this, veteran. When you got a dark horse MVP, right? When you got a dark horse MVP, if you think about the teams in the league, in order to be MVP, either you got to be doing serious work, or your team got to be really good. So if you think about the top 3 teams in the league, right? Top 3 teams in each conference: Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. All right, and I'm going to hold the phone on Philadelphia because I think Miami might be a top 3 seed in the East. But I'm going to say Philadelphia for right now. All right, so Giannis is definitely in the MVP conversation. Brooklyn, James Harden, and Kevin Durant are going to be in the MVP conversation. And then you got Philadelphia. And then you got Miami. Is Bam going to be in the MVP conversation? Could he be in the MVP conversation? I don't think Jason Tatum is there yet. I think he's another year, maybe 2 years away before we start talking about him like that. It's going to be tough for us to win that division, man, because Seattle owns us. We're going to go up to Seattle and they're going to stomp us. I'm not saying that they're going to beat us. They're going to stomp us. I don't know why, and we're going to beat the Rams. And we ain't going to beat the Rams once. We're going to beat them twice. Watch. But Arizona, we play really well against Arizona. I don't know why, but we do. And we go up to Seattle and they stomp us. But back to what I was saying, when you look at the Western Conference, so you got the Lakers, Utah, and Denver. I think those 3 teams are going to be at the top of that list. And I think Anthony Davis is going to be in the MVP conversation. I think Joker is going to be in the MVP conversation. Why Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert are not in the MVP conversation is still nuts to me. I'm still having a very difficult time with that. Very difficult time with that. I can't make sense of how the best team in the Western Conference, their best player is not an All-NBA performer. That still doesn't make sense to me. So you see, that's not true. That's not true. Donovan Mitchell on that Utah Jazz team that finished number 1 in the Western Conference. He was their leading scorer. He was their second leading assist man, and he was their third leading rebounder. Third leading rebounder on that team. So he's way more valuable to them than you're giving him credit for. Way more. I do not think the Jazz are a fraud. I think that they got outcoached. I definitely think Ty Lue outcoached Quinn Snyder in that series. And number 2, I think that was a bad matchup for them. You know, nobody talked about the Dallas Mavericks in 2007 when, Golden State beat them in the first round. Dallas won 66 games that year. And that was a bad matchup with the Golden State Warriors in round 1. So when you look at that, I look at the same thing with Utah and the Clippers last year. I thought that was a bad matchup. I think Utah would have beat Phoenix. I do. I think they would have beat Phoenix. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe, possibly. I think they would have beat Phoenix. 67 wins. I'm sorry, Julian. I think they would have beat Phoenix, and I think they would have beat Denver too. That does not mean that Dirk was the league MVP that year. That was just a bad matchup for them. Absolutely. Well, we first got to establish who is in the MVP finalist list first. So, like I told you in the East, I think Giannis is going to be in the conversation. I think James Harden and Kevin Durant are going to be in the conversation. And it's either going to be Embiid or Embiid's going to be in the conversation. And then in the Eastern in the Western Conference, I think Anthony Davis is going to be in the conversation. I think Steph Curry is going to be in the conversation. No, I don't think Steph Curry is going to be in the conversation because Golden State's not going to be. I don't think they're going to be that good. I mean, Klay's not going to be around. Klay's not going to be around until January. So we already had that conversation. So I think Anthony Davis is going to be in the conversation. I think Joker is going to be in the conversation. I wouldn't be surprised if Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert is in that conversation, especially with them being as good as they are. How has that been where the best team in the Western Conference, their best player is not an MVP candidate? That's like saying Malone wasn't an MVP candidate when the Jazz was running around. So you're speaking on last season. So last season, who were the top three guys? It was Giannis, Joker, and Embiid. Is that correct? And that's because James Harden didn't play that much. Leonard didn't play that much. James got hurt. He was out 2 months. Steph, Joker, and Embiid. Who did I say? Giannis wasn't in that conversation? Yeah, because he had won it twice. Well, what's going to be the logic with Trey being in it this year? We talking about a dude who was 25-9 last year. He didn't even make he got voted onto the All-Star team as an alternate because somebody got hurt. He didn't make the All-NBA team, which is nuts to me too. 25-9 and he didn't make the All-NBA team. What the hell, y'all? Just like Jason Tatum, 26-7. And he didn't make the All-NBA team. I'm thinking, what's going on here? And if they did give him 3 in a row, he would never win it again. That would be the end of him. That's why they wouldn't get to him 3 years in a row. Was it? What it was Embiid, Giannis, and Joker. Is that correct? Or was it Steph, Joker, and Giannis? Was I wrong? Yes, Russ did. Russ was 3rd team All-NBA last year. Yes, he was. Steph wasn't. Was Steph in or was Steph out? Because I thought it was Giannis, Joker, and Embiid. I thought those were the 3 finalists. That still doesn't make. I thought that was Jason Tatum's spot, Jimmy Butler's spot. To this day, I'm still unclear on that. So who made 3rd team All-NBA last year? Because I know that Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Luka, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Luka. Chris Paul, Paul, Steph Curry, Luka, Giannis. I'm sorry, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Luka, Giannis, and Joker were first team All NBA last year. Then second team was Dame, Julius Randle, James. Chris Paul made first team. So Dame, Julius Randle, James, Leonard, and Jimmy Butler. No, that's not true. I know Jimmy Butler made it. Was Leonard first team? No, Luka was first team. Mm-mm. So James, Julius Randle, Joel Embiid was second team All NBA. Dame was second team All NBA. Missing somebody. I'm almost certain Chris Paul was first team All NBA last year. I'm almost certain of that. Okay, so James, Embiid, Dame, Randall, and CP3 was second team All NBA. Steph Curry, Luka, Leonard, Joker. Steph Curry, Luka, Leonard, Joker, and Giannis were first team. And third team, I would have. So Russ did not make the All NBA team. So who was on the All NBA? I know Bradley Beal made the All NBA team. I think Devin Booker made it too. So Butler made third team. That was Jason Tatum's spot. Mm-hmm. And PG. So I had the first team right. I thought CP3 was first team All NBA. Booker did not make the All NBA team. Paul George, Bradley Beal, Irv did make the All NBA team last year. Rudy Gobert and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler made the All NBA team last year. That was pretty. I did have the second team correct. Embiid, Bron, Dame, CP3, and Randall, right? And the first team was, again, Curry, Luka, Leonard, Joker, Giannis. Yeah, they did have a higher record than Jason Tatum. I did hear that too about about everybody talking about. I did hear that about people people saying that Book was better than Giannis, and I was like, "You sure about that?" I don't know about that. You can make an argument for Tim Duncan being a top five player. You can definitely make an argument for him being a top five player. Absolutely, you can. You can definitely make that argument. I don't see any logic with that neither, my man. I got Tim Duncan 7. I got him ahead of Olajuwon at 7. You asked me that before, Michael. I told you I used to live in Sligo. I got Bill Russell over Duncan. I got Chamberlain over Duncan too. Who's the best overall offensive player? James. Yeah, 1989. Yes, sir. I do. I got Chamberlain and Bill Russell over Tim Duncan. Absolutely. Yes, I do. I am going to watch the Chargers game tonight. Jillian Deere, and I'm sorry to call you Deere, but Jillian, and I don't know if I've said this to you before, but if I did not bleed 49 red, I would be rocking a Justin Herbert jersey. Yes, I would. The more I see this kid, the more he reminds me. He looks like a more athletic version of Dan Marino. I love him. I absolutely love him. I don't think Hakeem was more skilled than Duncan. I think he was a better athlete than Duncan. No, they're in the AFC West, not the NFC West. They're in the AFC West with Kansas City and the Raiders and Denver. I can't do it though. I'm just not that type of dude, man. Like if I'm down with you, I'm down with you. So I can't put on no other team jersey. That's just how I am, man. If I'm a 49er man, and I can't get down with. I can't rock nobody else's jersey. I can't do it. Mm-mm. I don't think Joker was more skilled than Chamberlain. I don't. Agent Cyborg, how about this? And let me put this on your mind and tell me if I'm ridiculous by saying this. You said you got the Rams in the bowl game, right? How you feel about the Rams and the Chargers in the bowl game? And the bowl game is in Los Angeles. I'm just throwing that out there to you. Yeah, that might. Am I on to something? They might break it. Am I on to something, Instinct, or am I on some nonsense? Am I on some nonsense, or am I on to something? Straighten me out, because if I'm on some nonsense, I'll shut that down. Why do I have KG lower in my all-time ranking? Lower than Malone? Malone was better than KG. Yes, he was. Excuse me for a moment. Malone was better than KG. Mm-hmm. Bucks and the Rams. Wouldn't surprise me at all, guys. Wouldn't. I did see that. That's gonna be a big time halftime show. No question about it. Yeah, yo, why is Wilt Chamberlain not a top 5 player? I'm very interested to hear this. Yeah, that's gonna be a great halftime show with Dr. Dre, Snoop, Mary J. Blige. I'm actually gonna watch that. Why is Wilt not a top 5 player? I was in Galway. I was in Galway. I was in Shannon. I was in Dungannon. Yes, Mary J. Blige can still sing. Yeah, yes, she can. Name one thing Russell did better than Tim Duncan. Win. He was a better rebounder. They didn't a lot of the stuff that they count today. They didn't have those things back then. You want to talk about records? True hoops. Let's discuss records. Didn't Tim Duncan have? I think against the Nets, he had a triple double in that game 6. Is that correct? When they won the NBA championship, I think he went 20, 21, and 10, something like that. I think he went 20. I think he went 20, 21, 10, and like 7 in that game 6 when they beat the Nets. I think I think that's correct. Just so you know, just to name a few things, Bill Russell in Game 7 of the 1965 NBA championship, he went 30 and 40. So let's take Bill Russell out of the conversation. If I told you that Shaq went 30 and 40 in Game 7 of the NBA championship, how is our conversation going? What are we talking about? I know that when we say it one more time, so you see, one more time. He went 30 and 40 for the game. Yes, sir. He had 40 boards and 30 points in Game 7 of the 1962 NBA Finals, Game 7. Absolutely. If you didn't see it, you would have been like, get the hell out of here. That ain't going on. It's pretty impressive, huh? That is pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. One more time, Curb, for the people in the cheap seats. If Shaq went 30 and 40 in Game 7 in the NBA Finals, that's what kind of conversation? How we talking about Shaq? And that's just one of the things that's one of the things that Russ did, right? That's just one of the things that he did. You know, he averaged 20 and 20 twice in the playoffs. He did that twice in the playoffs. He averaged 20 and 20. See, you ain't see Wilt pull down 55 boards. So until then, Kevin Love is the man with 33 boards in the game. Why is my basketball card striped? What are you talking about? He did that against the Cavs, not against Bird. He did that against the Cavs, and he averaged I think almost 50 a game against them in that series. And by the way, them 55 boards that Chamberlain pulled down, you know who he did that against? Yes, are you aware of who he did that against? Duncan is not a better rebounder than Bill Russell, man. Are you crazy? No, he is not. No. No, he is not a better rebounder than Bill Russell. He is not. Think about that for a second. He went 37 and 21 on Shaq. That's correct. Just so you know, them 21 rebounds, Russell did that on a Tuesday night. And he did that for 10 years. I'm sorry, he did that for his career. Pencil him in on a Tuesday night for 22 boards. Like it's headline news when a guy grabs 20 boards today or 10 years ago. Russ did that on a Sunday. That was nothing for Russ to do that. And he was doing that when he was coaching the Celtics, by the way. Coaching the team and grabbing 20 boards. If that was true, then how come everybody wasn't doing it? 2,900. If it was nothing to do, then why wasn't everybody doing it? I'm very interested to hear that. And I just told you that Bill Russell in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, he scored 30 points and pulled down 40 boards. So what difference do it make who it was? It was in the NBA Finals. Why you care was on who? Shaq won the NBA championship 3 years in a row. You know the centers that he went up against? He went up against Rick Smits, Todd McCullough, and Mutombo. That's who he went up against in the 3 straight. And in the 4th one against Dallas, you know who he went against? He went against Eric Dampier. That's who he went up against. 45, what's up, brother? That's who Diesel went up against in the finals. He went up against Rick Smits, Mutombo, and Todd McCullough. And in the 4th time, he went up against Eric Dampier. And he lost to Ben Wallace. So I was asked about the Chicago Bulls this season. I'm real interested to see what they do. I am interested to see them. Yes, I am. I don't believe Tim Duncan went up against better competition than Bill Russell. I think I'm going to catch that game too. I'm going to peek my head into that whole. Like I said, I don't really pay much attention to preseason games because a lot of the vets get rested, so I get to see. I'll peek my head in and see free agents or rotation guys who I think are going to be better. So. Yep. It's tough to when talking about Steph Curry, man. It's really tricky when we talking about that top 10 conversation with him, yo. I don't think the 6-0 in the finals is the separator. I mean, because I understand that with Jordan, but that's tough, yo. It would be. I tell you what, if he did go 6-0, with all the other accolades that he has, 15-time All-League defender, 8-time first-team All-League defender, 2-time league MVP. You can put him in the conversation. I don't think that he would be that, though. I mean, James got 4 league MVPs. Jordan got 5. Who can't average a double-double in their career as a 7-footer? Who are you talking about? Duncan was not soft. That is not true. Ask Kevin Garnett if Duncan was soft. He will make sure that you know. Ask Chris Webber if Duncan was soft. Ask Dirk Nowitzki if Duncan was soft. That is not true. Tim Duncan was not soft. No, he was not. Then how come DeAndre Jordan doesn't score? Explain that. I mean, Wilt scored on every level. Wilt scored in college. Wilt scored in the pros. Wilt scored on every level. So, no, Embiid could be more dominant than Giannis, but he's not. You know, it's crazy that you mentioned Bill Russell being a modern day Andre Drummond. You know that when Andre Drummond was in Cleveland, he was on his way. Was it Cleveland? No, I'm sorry, Detroit. Before he left Detroit, he was in Detroit for 7 years. At the rate that he was going, he was on his way to score 20,000 points and pull down 20,000 boards at the rate he was going, had he stayed in Detroit and continued to do that. There's only one other guy in the history of the NBA who could say that they did that. That's Chamberlain. So, I mean, Bill Russell did make the All-League defensive team in the 68-69 season. That was his last season in the NBA, and he was first team All Defense. He was ancient. Bill was washed by then. Oh, by the way, he was the head coach of the Celtics too, making the first team All Defense. LaMarcus Aldridge, Dave? Is that who you're talking about? Yeah. I hated to see LaMarcus Aldridge leave Portland too. I did. I hated to see him leave Portland because they were building something up there with him and Dame. CJ was turning into that guy. Yeah, they were on their way to doing something. No question about that. I hated to see him leave them. That was corny. But yeah, Bill Russell did make the All-League defensive team in the 68-69 season. That was his last season in the NBA. Bill was washed, and he still made first team All Defense, and he was the head coach of the Boston Celtics at the time. So I just want to make what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to imagine Rudy Gobert in making an All-League defensive team while he's coaching the Utah Jazz. And he washed too, by the way. Like, this is his last season in the NBA. I want you to imagine that. You can make that case, Curb, that Ben Wallace is the top 3 defender of all time. You're talking about a 4-time defensive player of the year. I take those. I take stuff like that very seriously. Yes, I do. I take stuff like that very seriously. I think Dame is a Western Conference dude. I don't want to see him, if he's moved, I don't want to see him on a WAC unit again. I'd love to see Dame on a unit where he's got a shot to make a deep run in the playoffs. I don't do that whole boring play style. I don't that stuff doesn't interest me at all. So I don't do that whole. But Tim Duncan was extremely effective. He was. I stand by that. Scottie Pippen was a top 5 player in the 1995-96 season. Yes, he was. I stand by that. Agent Cyborg, I thought it was a joke. Not a joke. I thought it was a misprint. I thought that it was Kobe and Lamar Odom combined for 81. That's what I thought they were saying when they said that. He didn't shut me up. I just stopped talking because I had already made my point. What else is there for me to say that I didn't say that I needed to say? I already made my point. So, like when you're having a debate with somebody, you make a point, I make a point. You make a point, I make a point. You make a point, I make a point. And then I'm done. It's not, I already made my point. This is why I think this dude is a top 5 player in the NBA. So I don't think he was. I only give you 4 players. I don't think he was better than Jordan. I don't think he was better than Olajuwon. I don't think he was better than David Robinson. And I don't think he was better than Malone. Everybody else after that, he was better than them. He was better than Barkley. He was better than Drexler. He was better than Shaq. He was better than all of them dudes. Yes, sir. He absolutely was. In the 1995-96 season. Scottie Pippen was absolutely a top 5 player in the NBA. So you see, because that's how a conversation works. You talk, I listen. I talk, you listen. Just because I'm talking loud, that don't mean I'm right. And just because you talking loud, that don't mean you right. We're going to get nowhere, right? We're going to get nowhere with us just yelling over the top of each other. No way. Yes, he was better than Penny Hardaway. Yes, he was better than Tim Hardaway too. I can't believe that you would even say anything like that. I really can't believe that you do you remember Scott? The interesting thing about Scottie Pippen is we treat Scottie Pippen, of all the superstars, of all, and I remember him saying that he wasn't better than Penny Hardaway. He said Chris Mullin too, by the way, which that's why I stopped talking. That's another reason why I stopped talking, because it was pointless to keep going at that point. Like, come on, man. Right. That's what he said. He said Penny Hardaway. He said Tim Hardaway. He said Chris Mullin. He said Clyde Drexler. And I'm like, there's no reason for me to keep talking because this is nuts. It was pretty impressive when Shaq and Penny knocked out Jordan. Yeah. Even though, Jordan came back for like the last 20 games of the season and some nonsense like that. When he came back in the middle of March. Yeah, he said John Stockton too. That's like, no. Mm-mm. And the reason why when we named those players, I had to think about when we were talking about, right? So when you're bringing up David Robinson, when you're bringing up Hakeem Olajuwon, when you're bringing up Jordan, and when you're bringing up Malone, when you're bringing up these guys, we're not talking all time. We're talking at that particular time, right? We're talking about in the 1995-1996 NBA season. Jordan was better than him. Olajuwon was better than him. David Robinson was better than him. And Karl Malone. That's as far as I'm going. I ain't going no further than that. That's it. I don't think KD would do bad. I think KD would do work in the 90s. See, people get this notion about the game being physical. Reggie Miller wasn't bigger than a minute. Same thing about the 80s. George Gervin wasn't bigger than a minute. So it's gonna be tough for the Jazz, but I'm not I'm not I'm not out on the Jazz if they could get some favorable, because that's all this is about in the playoffs, is getting a good matchup and having some things go your way. Rodman was like 6'8", like 225, 230. Rodman wasn't that big. No, he wasn't. Rodman was not a big dude. Mm-mm. Yeah, Reggie wasn't that big. Reggie was 6'7". Reggie played at 200 pounds, I think. Reggie wasn't that big. Yeah, they had Rodman. Rodman was listed at 6'8". He was about 6'7", 6'8". Yep. Rodman went at about 225. Well, I'll tell you what, Kavoo, I see, Chris Paul still has that in his game, so, and Devin Booker has that in his game, and Bradley Beal got that in his game. So it's something that's still viable. It's something that's still relevant. The mid range, it might not be as relevant as the long ball, but it still is relevant. Effort. I've said this. I'm pretty sure I've said this to you guys in the past. I can teach you footwork. I can teach you technique. I can teach you how to block out. I can teach you block out stance. I can teach you how to slip block outs. I can teach you all of that stuff. In the end, defense and rebounding are one thing and one thing only: effort. Stick your nose in there, go get the basketball. Drop your ass, get your feet moving, get your hands busy. That's what defense is. The best footwork in the NBA? Joker got some really good footwork. Joker has really good footwork. Irv got good footwork too. Jason Tatum's got some really good footwork. Leonard's got really good footwork too. I don't know if Embiid's got that good of footwork. Yeah, Irv's got some really good footwork. I wasn't a huge fan of Utah as a living there. No. James Harden's got some really good footwork too. Yes, he does. But who has the best footwork? I don't know if Curry's footwork is better than Irv's footwork though. And Curry's got some really good footwork. I don't know if his footwork is better than Irv's though. I mean, LBJ, that goes without saying. James always had great footwork. I wish that. I do too, Kavoo. To be honest with you, I don't think the mid range is a lost art, because guys still shoot the mid range, but I don't think they rely on it nearly as much as they used to. Nearly as much. Excuse me for a moment, guys. I'll be right back. Be right back, guys. Hold on for a second. Excuse me. And Melo got a money mid-range game too. You know, Melo can knock down that 17 to 19 footer. That's his game. So Rudy Gobert, I think so, Jackson. I think Rudy Gobert would basically be Mutombo. That Rudy Gobert would be Mutombo. Maybe better. Yeah, KD would be if when you're able to put people on an island like that and not play zone where it's just you and me on and clean the whole left side of the floor out and ain't nobody coming over there to help you, man, KD would be murder. Yeah, KD would have been murder. Yeah, I do think that that pizza was bad on purpose. No question about it. I don't think that was a coincidence. Mm-hmm. Shaq had great footwork. Yes, sir, Kavu. Shaq didn't have good footwork. He had great footwork. You know, when you see a guy on the wing like KD, who at 6'10", that's that nice with the peel and can just get any shot that he wants offensively, and to be able to create that much distance when you get in the shot off. Luka is really good at that too. Luka would have been hell too, because he's really good at that. Mm-hmm. Creating distance and getting away from guys. Yeah, Blake. When I look at the Hornets, I think the key to what they're doing rests on Gordon Hayward. If Gordon Hayward can stay healthy, I think that they're in the playing tournament. I do. Because I like their mixture of talent. I do. I think Jordan needs to get him a big man down there because who's the big guy I'm thinking about? I don't even think he's there anymore. Biombo. I don't think Biombo is there anymore, but I think Jordan needs to get him a big guy because Cody Zeller ain't it. I do see Larry Bird and Luka. The craziest fan base in the 90s, it was impossible to go into Utah and win. That's why I was so surprised. I was so amazed by how Jordan went in there and did it. It was incredible to go in there and win. So that means if Cody Zeller's going, he must have just left because he was with them last season. OG. When MJ still dropped 30. That's why he used to go with LeBron. Could call out. I don't understand what you mean by that. So he left last season in free agency. So now he's in Portland, and they got Plumlee now up there. So Plumlee left Detroit, and he's in Charlotte. I think Plumlee's going to help them because he's a dirty work guy too, who can rebound. Mm-hmm. Are you talking about the flu game? Is that what you're talking about? You don't think James would have played that game? Being sick as he was? You don't think he would have played? You think James is soft, huh? Well, the pizza is what got him sick. Because he was fine before he ate the pizza. You know, I'm not buying this logic that, he was drunk the night before. Nah. That part I'm not buying. I did watch the flu game live. It was nuts. It was nuts. That Jordan he might not be able to play tonight. He's sick. I'm thinking, what? Nah. Keyshawn, you wrong about that, brother. Because he is not soft. Mm-mm. To answer your question, Khalid, how can Kareem and Magic be in the top 5 players all time? Well, I don't. Magic is not a top 5 player to me all time. But I mean, that same Philadelphia team that swept them, I mean, they had beaten them twice. So, I mean, let's not forget that. No way. That's not your opinion, Neptune. That's not your opinion. That's fact. No way that Jordan plays in that game today. Nah. Being as sick as he was, they wouldn't have let him near the arena. No way. Agent Cyborg, take it a step further than that. You're talking about the toxic environment. How about what was at stake that night? If they lose that game, that's an elimination game. If the Heat lose that game, 1, they're out. 2, that's the second year in a row. And now they're going backwards, right? Because they lost in the finals to Dallas the year before. And now they lose to Boston in the East Finals the next year, which means we're going backwards, which means now we got to switch this thing up. This isn't working. And for him to go in that Boston Garden and put 45 and 15 on them. But the problem that we're having is, I don't call it recency bias. No, I don't call it that. But the problem that we're having is people like Keyshawn, he looking at James today. He completely forgets who James, I mean, James is going in the year 19. 19. He's not going in the year 9. He's going in the year 19. And see, it's that kind of logic right there. That's nuts. OG, you can't praise LeBron for getting himself in a hole and then getting out. That's like saying to a boxer, you can't praise a boxer for getting knocked out, but then getting back up and knocking the guy out in the 10th round. What kind of logic is that? I can't do that? What's up, Toucan? How you doing, brother? I can't praise a boxer who got knocked out in the 8th round and got dropped, basically, but then got back up and dropped this dude in the 10th round? I can't do that? Wow. He didn't call game on James. That was against Washington in the playoffs. Right. That's exactly what I mean, Agent Cyborg. They down 3-2. If they lose that game, they're out. And Riles probably blows up this unit because that's the second year in a row. Not only did they not win it, but they're going backwards. It's interesting you mentioned that. He called game, and then James put 45 and 15 on him in game 6, and then comes home in game 7 and serves him again. Why is his defense overrated? What makes his defense overrated? What do you think makes his defense overrated? George, I do not have the Knicks at a top 3 seed. I think I got them at 7. I got them behind Atlanta. I got Atlanta at 6 because I think the Knicks were 4 last season. I think Miami, Boston, and Atlanta jumped them this season. I don't know if it was the best playoff series, but it was pretty impressive what Dame did, putting 55 on them. So, running good, Jake. How you doing, man? And see, that's the problem right there. Defense is overrated. Tell Phoenix that defense is overrated because there's a reason why there was a parade in Milwaukee. And it wasn't because they was just scoring a bunch of points. I think that the Raptors, I'm not sleeping on the Raptors, but I'll tell you what, Kavul, with the group that they got, I think that they could be right at the door of that play-in tournament. I do. I'll give it by week 6 with Cam. I'll give Cam another 2 weeks, and then you're going to start to hear the buzz. Cam went to work out for this team, or he went to work out for this team. I never understood that, defense is overrated nonsense, because I don't believe that at all. Mm-mm. Convince me that he doesn't play defense. Convince me that he does not. Because I saw a guy who, in a 6-year span, from 2007 to 2013, made the All-League defensive team 6 times. And he was first team 5 of those 6 years. He finished in the top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year 4 of those 5 years, including finishing second twice to Dwight Howard in 2009 and to Gasol in 2013. So convince me that he's not a defender, because they don't just hand out Defensive Player of the Year. They don't just go, yeah, you look like a good defender. There's a lot that goes into that. How do you impact your unit? What kind of defender are you? It doesn't? Why doesn't it mean anything? Why doesn't it mean anything? I don't understand that part. Wow. To discount being a defender, that's the part that gets me right here so much, man. And that's why I have such a difficult time talking about the game today, because of attitudes like that, because defense is overrated. Man. Did you expect to kind of blow up on TikTok after you first? No, I didn't, sir. I didn't expect any of that. I'm doing what I'm doing with you guys right now. This whole thing started with me. Answering somebody saying that Jordan, this when I first started, I first figured out how to answer. And it started with Clyde Drexler didn't have a left hand. And then it went from that to, Jordan had help in the 80s when he had Orlando Woolridge. I'm like, wait a minute. No, he did not. That 85, 86 team that lost to the Boston Celtics, they were Oklahoma City. They were Minnesota without Jordan. Of course you're going to say that, Andre. Of course you're going to say that. Absolutely you're going to say that. How is John Stockton better than Curry when Curry has MVPs and rings? Well, first of all, your rings suggest how good your team is. We'll start the conversation there. Number two, Steph Curry is not, Mark Jackson had him playing the point early in his career. And he did average 8 assists. And then the offense changed when Steve Kerr got there. And then he wasn't the primary ball handler anymore. Now the offense, they did it completely different. And he became more of a scorer than a distributor. And that wasn't his game anymore, which was why I would love to take the point guard tag off of Steph Curry, because I don't think he's a point guard. Well, that's what sells, though, which is super corny to me, because to see a guy stop a guy and give a guy a chance to stop a guy, as opposed to you're not even going to give a guy a chance to stop a guy. Nah, you can't put hands on him, can't body him up, none of that stuff. I think that's what it is, to be honest with you. Because I don't think Curry is. I just want to take the tag of point guard off. Because when I think about a point guard, right, I think about a player who, and I've said this in my lives in the past. When I think about a point guard, just like I think about, for example, a shooting guard. Any of you guys in here, any of you girls and guys in here, if you saw a shooting guard today who people were saying he's better than Kobe or he's better than Jordan, but he doesn't score the basketball at an elite level. Like he averaging like 21 or 22 a game. But he better than Kobe. Are you out of line to expect a shooting guard, even though that's what it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago? Should you expect a shooting guard to still score the basketball at an elite level if they're an elite shooting guard? Should you expect that? No, I don't, Amar. I don't know if I said your name right. Anar, did I say that right? I don't think that the Mavs are going to get worse. In fact, I think that Jason Kidd's going to be a big help to Luka, because he's going to get Luka to see the game different. And when Luka sees the game different, he's going to be a better distributor. He's going to be a better playmaker. He'll be a better scorer. He'll be able to get guys more involved. And I think they'll be a better team because of it. No question about it. Who are those players that has their own category? I think Allen Iverson, I don't put him in that category. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't put him in that category as a shooting guard. I don't put Steph Curry in that, because these guys they're not in the traditional sense that. So, yeah. I just hate the logic that it's overrated, man, because what it does is it completely diminishes what it takes to be a defender. And I hate that, yo. That really bothers me, man. That what it takes to be a defender, how hard it is to defend and to be able to stop guys. So I don't know if Giannis is on track to becoming a GOAT, but I will tell you this. If he were to, for the next 5 years, let's say 5 to 7 years, if Giannis were to win another league MVP, if he were to win the NBA championship again, if he were to win another defensive player of the year again, and continue to make the all-league defensive team like he's been doing, to make the all-NBA team like he's been doing, if he continues to do that, we got to have the conversation at minimum. The job LeBron James did on somebody, how about that job he did on Paul Pierce in 2012? I think Paul Pierce averaged 13 a game in those Eastern Conference Finals. James averaged, I think, 34, 35 against him. He averaged 13 a game. Paul Pierce did. And not to mention, nobody's really stopping anybody. But if you could slow guys down, what about the job that LeBron did? When you're talking about the job he did on Paul Pierce in 2012 in the East Finals. What about the job he did on Derrick Rose, where he shut the door on Derrick Rose? This is the league MVP, by the way. He held Derrick Rose to 30% shooting. 30% shooting. And barely 20 points. Shut the door on him. I can't leave that out. I do think LeBron is just, there was a stretch where LeBron was just as good a defender as Jordan. Absolutely. Yes, sir. I do believe that. Yeah, we just talked about it. You saw what he did to Derrick Rose. You saw what he did to Paul Pierce in 2012. Why is my basketball card getting striped again? What are we talking about here? Did he not shut down Derrick Rose? Did he not do that? I just want to make sure that I'm not out of line here. Straighten me out if I'm wrong. Go and check after they won that first game. After Chicago won that first game, did he not shut the door on Derrick Rose? Straighten me out if I'm out of line. I think Jordan is a top 10 defender, no doubt about it. Me neither, Eric. If I told you, Eric, after that first game, nope, I ain't not Kobe neither. Nope. If I told you after that first game in 2011, when they smoked Miami by 20, if I said to you, Eric, if I said, listen, I got $1,000. Chicago ain't winning another game in this series. What would you have said to me? What would our conversation be like if I would have said to you, I got $1,000 that the Bulls ain't winning another game in this series? We're just going to completely leave out in the 1920 season. Y'all saw James in the playoffs smacking Russell Westbrook shit into the third row. I'm sorry, I'm cussing. Russell Westbrook going to the basket, smacking it into the third row, pinning his shots up against the box. Mm-hmm. It's almost like when you talk about James and Jordan, it's almost like talking about, it's almost like the Israelis and the Protestants and the Palestinians. It's something that's never going to end ever. It's something that no matter what you say, it's constant war, constant. And when anybody challenges the throne, right? Anybody challenges the throne, immediately the response is, "Are you crazy?" When in reality, I mean, there is a legit argument. There is an absolute legit argument for that. So, see, here we go. LeBron isn't on Jordan's level. How do you three-peat, retire, then three-peat again? That's not human. See, here we go. No. Here we go. Here we go. Jimmy Butler gave him 40. Okay. And Jason Tatum gave Kevin Durant 50. What's your point? The next crazy trade in the NBA. Kobe, Jay, let me get to the bottom of this. I'm sorry, because my blood pressure is going up right now. Jay Louse, is that your name? No, Kobe Bryant isn't a better scorer than LeBron James. LeBron James has been in the league, this going into year 19. 17 of the 18 seasons he's been in the league, he's averaged 25 points a game or more. You know how many times Kobe, you know who else can say that they've done that? Nobody else, including Kobe Bryant. So that notion that he's a better scorer, because no, he is not. No, he isn't. And I'm sorry that I'm yelling, but I'm so sick of hearing this nonsense. He's got a winning record against Kobe Bryant. And this is when Kobe was with the Lakers when they were winning NBA championships. 22-16 for his career against Kobe. So we dead in that notion. He is not, Kobe Bryant was not a better scorer than LeBron James. Dead it. That's done. There's your facts right there. LeBron James, 25 a game for 17 of the 18 years he was in the league. Dead that. No, he is not. I just gave you the facts. I am giving you the facts. I'm going to tell it to you one more time. Like I told my counterpart OG. These are the facts. LeBron James, 25 a game or more for 17 of the 18 years he's been in the league. Nobody else in the history of the game can say that they've done that. Nobody. LeBron James, more. He has 8 seasons where he shot 35% or more from the three. Kobe, 3 seasons of that. So no, he is not. See, here we go with the eye test. And you know what what the eye test means, J Los? Is that your name? Let me tell you what the eye test means. The eye test means he looks like this. What does the proof tell you? Just because it looks like this, because I've seen guys who look better, like, yo, he looked like he better than him. But what are the results? Because ultimately, what your skill set produces are the results. which is your stats, not just longevity. He averaged more points for longer. Not just longevity. He averaged more points. He did this longer than you. It's not just I did this longer than you. I averaged more points. You averaged 25 a game for your career. I averaged 25 or more. 17 out of 18 seasons. You can't say that you did that ever. And you played 20 years. That's fact. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. That's because MJ averaged 30 a game. MJ didn't average 25 a game. MJ averaged 30 a game. There's a difference. That's not the same thing. It's not just longevity. MJ did not average 25. MJ averaged 30. There's a difference. And he averaged almost 34 a game in the playoffs. There's a difference. That's not the same thing. That's not close to the same thing. See, here we go with this nonsense. OG, you know Kobe would have done that if it wasn't for injuries. So we could say the same thing about Derrick Rose. We could say the same thing about Grant Hill. But he didn't. So just like when you hear a guy say, you know, I can lead the league in scoring every year. Why don't you do it? Why isn't it getting done? So and I've said this in the past, and I'm going to end it here. I always felt like the only thing that Jordan did better than James was score. That was it. Everything else, James was right there. Everything. So this logic that Kobe Bryant was a better scorer than LeBron James, no, he is not. So I don't know, Swomo, I don't know if it's this season, but I will tell you in the next, I think that in the next 2 seasons, right? I think in the next 2 seasons, I think Jason Tatum is going to be in the MVP conversation within the next 2 seasons. I believe that. Yes, sir, I do. No doubt about it. So, all right, guys, it's getting late, and I'm going to watch some Monday Night Football. I apologize for being late again when I said that I wasn't going to be late, and I ended up being late. So my words don't mean anything to you right now. So I'm not even going to try to explain myself. I'm going to keep my trap shut and say nothing about me being late. So I have nothing to say for myself. Zero, zilch, nada. I have zero, zilch, nada. Nothing to say for myself except I was late. That's it. And I have nothing to say for myself. So we'll do this again soon. Absolutely. We'll do this again soon. We got some preseason games on right now. I'm going to catch some more preseason stuff, and I'll definitely get back with you guys real soon. So until then, take it light. Take it.